Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am so excited to talk about my top 5 tarot and oracle decks of 2024. So before we get started, I did want to just let you know that I'm still recovering from a cold, and I'm a bit more congested today than I was yesterday. So I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I also just have a cappuccino here. I just made a cappuccino. I have a milk frother, so I can make cappuccinos now anytime that I want, which is kind of dangerous, but really delicious. Also, I'm so excited to mention, since I've been sick, I've been doing a lot of journaling a lot with the archetype of the wild woman and with Artemis. In my last video, I mentioned that I was reading She Who Hunts. I've actually completed the book and I'm using it more like a workbook. And then I just recently picked up this used, Artemis by Stephanie Lynn Boudin. I believe this is like part of a series. It looks like there's a few different other gods, like with this similar style cover. So I'm really excited to start diving into this now that I've completed the She Who Hunts book. And I recently just picked up the Wildwood Tarot. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an unboxing on the channel because this is such a common deck. Like, a lot of people have this deck. But I don't know, I might do an unboxing because I do like to share my genuine, honest first impressions and reactions to new decks in my collection. And I also like to share a little bit about how I'm intending on working with the deck, so maybe I will. But I did want to really mention, because I'm so excited, I did just pretty much wrap up this journal. I started this journal back in September, and I believe I have about seven or 8 pages left, so I could probably finish this journal today, especially with the amount of journaling that I've been doing, especially the past week. It's pretty much all I had enough energy to do since I've been sick. So just doing so much journaling, shadow work, and that's really something that I feel very called to doing while working with the archetype of the wild woman and with Artemis. But I did recently pick up a new journal, so this is going to be my new journal going forward as soon as I've completed the other one, which again, I'm thinking it's probably going to be today. I've already started putting in my artwork, and this is a different journal than I usually go for. I actually splurged a bit on this journal because usually I just get my journals at the dollar store. This one was just, I like the hardcover and I like the spiral because I like to flip my journals like over and then write like that. And I like the hardcover because I can write anywhere. During the summer, I like to take my journal out and journal by my, I've mentioned this on the channel, my favorite lake, my favorite local lake. So I do like the hardcover, so I'm sticking with that. And the spiral. But this one I just got at the local dollar store, and it didn't come with a little, like, I like to have this sleeve for art. And then I'll just keep certain art pieces in it, and then when I feel called to putting it on the page, I do that. But I had to make this one. So I do like that I made this though, because it feels special. Like, it made my journal feel special to me. But I don't know, let me know what you think in the comment section below and how you like your journals to be. I am trying something new, and I went with the grid. Usually I go with a lined journal, but I thought I'd try something new. I do like to insert artwork or photographs, like actual, usually family photos, or pictures that I print off from the internet, usually of artwork or things that I'm inspired by. It can be color palettes. I'll show you. Recently, and this is just sticker paper that I purchased off Amazon, but I do like to print like different colors that I'm inspired by, different artwork. The color burgundy and dark red, particularly burgundy or wine red, and gold is really standing out to me this year. I think this is going to be my color theme for the next couple of months. I think maybe all throughout winter, but this is like a huge theme for me. These two colors, the gold and the, it's like a dark red, burgundy. But anyway, let's get straight into the video. I know I went off on a little a random oh my gosh, my brain is not really working right now. Went off on some random thoughts there for 7 minutes. So I had a hard time keeping this list to 5 decks. I do have one honorable mention, and that is the Queen Maeve Oracle, or you might know it as the Queen Mab Oracle. I am obsessed with this deck. This is one of my favorite decks to work with the goddess Lilith. It's fantastic for working with deities such as Lilith or Ishtar. Really any energy that's about really embracing your sexuality, stepping into your empowerment, setting boundaries, stepping into your strength. This deck is perfect for that. And this is a deck that I do, like I said, I do like to work with Lilith. Typically I will pull one card, usually at the end of the day, just to get a message from her. And this is a beautiful journaling deck, and I like to journal off of what comes up for me when I look at the imagery, as well as when I reference the guidebook. The guidebook is really well written. It's a Tess Whitehurst guidebook, and she is quite a well-known individual in the community. She creates wonderful decks, and I believe she also writes books as well. I could be wrong on that, but I do have to shout out the guidebook. The guidebook is incredible. It's excellent for setting boundaries. You can use it as a clarifier, especially if you're doing shadow work, or if you're working a particular shadow work spread. But this deck is all about calling your power back. So that is the Queen Maeve Oracle. It's published by Blue Angel, and again, it's a Tess Whitehurst deck. The artwork is absolutely stunning, and I like that you get the mix of the light and dark imagery. Artwork is by Melanie Dion and Cecilia GF. Okay, so now moving on to the actual deck list. So of course, again, this is top 5 favorite tarot and oracle decks of 2024. And number 5, so we're going backwards, starting from 5, ending at 1. So number 5, where did I put it? Goddess of Love Tarot. So there is nudity in this deck, so I just want you to be warned. This is a fantastic deck. So I'm just finishing up a week long intensive with this deck, really exploring the devil archetype, sovereignty, sexual sovereignty, inner strength as well with this deck. This deck is excellent for connecting with the divine feminine, or the erotic feminine, as the creator Gabrielle Hirschtick likes to put it in the guidebook. So it's excellent for any workings of self-love, self-acceptance, or even sex magic if you are looking for a deck to either learn sex magic or to continue with a practice. This is an excellent deck for that. This deck is incredibly supportive of your path, and I do really enjoy that about this deck. I find it very supportive, very loving. It's a very lusty, kind of passionate energy. I line it with the elements of fire and water. Sorry, fire and air, not fire and water. Fire and water. That would be like the Queen Maeve Oracle that I just showed you. But it's just such a fantastic deck for really reconnecting with yourself, and the divine feminine within you, for embodying the divine feminine as well, or erotic feminine, and really just stepping into your power in that sense. So I do really enjoy this deck. I'm not a huge collage person, but this deck has me appreciating collage work. I'm considering picking up the Ritual Tarot. I know a lot of people absolutely love that deck. I won't be surprised when I see it on other people's top 5 lists. And this deck just has me open to working with more collage decks, just because I do really enjoy the artwork in this deck. I do think it's very beautiful and it's well done. The symbolism is incredibly powerful, and it's excellent for connecting with symbolism. This is also a very excellent journaling deck. I've journaled a lot this week connecting with this deck, and the imagery, the different symbolism that I see. It's great for working with different symbolism and creating your own journal, or your own correspondences of the symbolism. It's a great study deck too because of that. So I do think that this is an excellent deck. It's why it's number 5 on this list. So again, Goddess of Love Tarot. It's a mass market. Gabrielle Hirschtick is the creator. So next one is the Darkwood Tarot. I absolutely loved working with this deck. I believe I worked with it during Samhain and before Samhain for the Halloween season. And then during the transition to Yule. This is just an excellent, it's a very like liminal in its energy. It's an excellent in-between or transition deck. It's excellent for shadow work, self-exploration. This deck is fascinating in the sense that nothing is as it seems. It's really something that it takes time. You have to really spend time with the imagery, look at the artwork. And it's why I really appreciate this deck. It's really well done. Really, really well done. So that is this is the Darkwood Tarot by Abigail Larson is the artist, and the creator is Sasha Graham. This is a Llewellyn deck. So again, mass market. I actually don't think I have any independently produced decks on my list this year. That's interesting. and that is number 4. So next on the list is the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. So this is my favorite. I've mentioned this on the channel. I know you guys are probably not surprised, especially if you're not new to my channel. This is my favorite out of the series. This is the one that I'm most drawn to. This deck is a very powerful ritual and spell working deck. Excellent for release or working with the dark moon. It's just a powerful deck. You know, when I first started connecting with this deck, I didn't feel incredibly drawn to the artwork, but I have to say it's really grown on me. You guys know I absolutely adore the artwork now. I have all 3 of this particular artist before the new one took over. I have all 3 of her decks. I just love the artwork in this deck. And it holds such a special place in my heart. So that is number 3, Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. This is mass market. It's created by Lorraine Anderson, Juliet Diaz, illustrated by Giada Rose, and this is published by Rockpool. So we all know they have some incredible quality when it comes to their decks. So we're down to last 2. I'm so excited. So these, of course, are not going to surprise you at all. So my favorite deck, this is number 2, is Wild Unknown Archetypes. So this is my favorite Oracle deck. This is probably one of the most powerful decks in my collection, in my arsenal. You guys know I am incredibly drawn to archetypes and working with archetypes on my spiritual path, and it's how I help others. And this deck really created it all. I love the imagery, the watercolor. I like the vivid pops of color. I don't mind the shape. You see, I thought that would bother me, the circle shape, but I actually don't mind it. You guys know I like to pull weekly with this deck to get an idea of what archetype I'm working with every week. There are times where I will pull for a larger period of time. I did that with this particular journal, the one that I'm about to close out. I did realize that the predominant archetype for the whole this whole journal was the Queen archetype. So there are times when I will pull for larger periods of time, but typically I do like to use this deck weekly to get an idea of what archetype I'm dealing with. As well as I like to identify people's, like the predominant archetype that they're dealing with in their life during a period of time, typically currently. And I like to use this deck for life purpose and spiritual abilities or gifts, intuitive abilities. So that's predominantly how I feel that this deck really shines. So this is the this is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Okay, top favorite deck of this year and probably forever, Witch Sister Tarot. I know you guys are not surprised at all. I have been very open and honest about my love for this deck. And anytime I'm going through any incredible changes in my life, I always have to come back to this deck. This deck is my ride or die. I used to call it my soul deck. I now realize that this is not my soul deck. I actually think this is like my husband or partner deck. In fact, it is a lot like my husband. I've recently realized that. But this deck is elementally, it's earth and fire. At least to me, it has this raw, primal energy. It contains the archetype of the witch, all witches. This deck I use for everything. Witchcraft, I use it for path work. I use it for every day. I can use it for shadow work. I think it really stands out in my collection for stepping into sovereignty. I remember earlier this year, like in January, I was doing some work with you guys know my favorite archetypes are the witch and the femme fatale. I was doing work with the femme fatale archetype, and this deck shined so bright for that. This deck wants you to feel powerful and step into your power. And it has this really raw, wild energy to it, but it's also grounded in its energy. It's very, like I said, it's very element of earth and element of fire, like married within it. You guys know I'm half Scottish, so I do feel my ancestors, my ancestry. This deck was it was created using Scottish mythology, and I believe the creator was very connected to her land, to Scotland, while making this deck, and you can feel it. It has an energy of Cernunnos, or the horned god to it. Like this, it's a wild... recently my work with the wild woman archetype has sort of shifted to including both a masculine and a feminine figure. You guys know I'm working with Artemis, but I like to call it the wild one. This deck embodies that energy as well beautifully. And of course I'll create more videos on the channel while I continue to work with this archetype. But this deck is just so beautiful. And I feel that it can do everything. At least for me, that's how I feel about it. I am feeling called to creating exclusive content, teaching about the deck, and how it really shines for me, and even sharing personal card meanings. And I will share that with you guys once I've ironed out all the details in the future, but it's just such a wonderful deck. It's a beautiful deck, and I know some people do really struggle with the meanings of the deck or the imagery, and it's just such a wonderful deck. The guidebook's really good. And it's definitely worth the time investment. It's worth the exchange, really spending time with it, getting to know the deck, and journaling about it, writing about it in any way that you can. It's just such a wonderful all-around deck. Very powerful deck. It's steeped in tradition, ancestry, the beings of, or the spirits of your land, and it connects with animal and as well as plant spirits as well. There's just this very beautiful earth energy to it, but it's also very fierce. It's very fiery in its energy as well, very passionate, lusty. And it's why I really appreciate this deck. And I'm going on another tangent, but I really want to thank you so much. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing this wild, crazy journey with me. I can't believe that it's been a year already and 2024 is coming to an end. It's just insane to me. I still can't really wrap my head around it that 2025 is like right around the corner. So I did want to share this deck list with you. I'm really excited to hear some of your top decks this year. Go ahead and share them in the comment section below. I'm always curious to know what decks people are drawn to and how they're working with them. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.